Okay, so welcome back to the Right to Bear Farms podcast. This is Ed, and I'm here with Jerome.
That's me.
And Jerome is coming over here to Romania to live on our off-grid community at some point in the near future, hopefully.
That's the plan.
And we're talking today about the kind of people we want to get involved with our projects, basically, and he's going to ask me a load of questions. I think you were saying kind of from a young person's perspective. So I'll let you fire away.
Sounds like a plan. I think a lot of people that are interested in this are not around my age. At least that's what your analytics have told us. But I think it's important first to kind of list the values that we want from all kinds of people. Explain clearly what it is that we look for in people that want to join the community. All right?
Okay, so you're going to go through that core values list that we worked on together, right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay, so you fire away with the questions and I'll answer them as quickly as I can. I've thought through that. The stuff that I contributed is stuff I've thought through over a very long period. They're not things I just came up with. It's stuff I've pondered for years in some cases. So, and I know you added a few things as well. So anyway, fire away and I'll answer as quickly and as concisely as I can.
All right, let's get to it. The first thing that I see you listed is to care about the truth. Agree is subjective and absolutes. What do you mean by that?
So I've got into many arguments about this with many people over the years, but I believe the truth is absolute. I don't think it's something subjective. I think if people, this matters in a vast, profound way, because if you have a relative view of everything, then anything can be anything else, and you can't conclude anything clearly or concisely, and it makes it very difficult trying to agree anything. If people are thinking like, you can't come to an absolute truth about something. It's okay to not know the truth, right? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think that one person's truth is different from another person's truth, and the truth is not something that's specific, and people have different views of it maybe, but that truth is absolute. Yeah. If you can't get your head around that concept, you're probably in the wrong community. So I'd say that's a fundamental thing.
Yeah.
And that's it. Happy to discuss that one at length with anybody who wants to get involved in the comments, whatever. Happy to discuss that. It's a controversial subject, believe it or not. But I'm a big fan of the rules of physics, and the rules of physics are very predictable. And I think you can apply the same logic to most things in life. Most things are predictable because humans are predictable. Human behavior is predictable. Okay.
Yeah. And what moral and ethical values do you have, or do you value in other people?
Okay, so I put on the list just being a decent human being, basically. That one, I know you and I have talked about this extensively. The other people are interested in the community. I've talked about this extensively. What constitutes being a decent human being? What I'd say is just respect for other people, behaving in a civilized manner. And then people say, "Oh, what do you mean by civilized?" Well, I mean civilized. So if you don't understand what that is, I guess we're going to have to enshrine it in our community constitution somehow. But I like that one. It's not that it's subjective, but I'd like to have input from everybody on that, Like, to me, being civilized is just behaving in a civilized manner. Like, I wouldn't go into a restaurant without a T-shirt on or wearing something suitable for a restaurant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although I see people going in a restaurant without a T-shirt on, So the things like that for me are civilized. I don't know what other people think, but it matters. If you're living around a bunch of other people, you're trying to do things together, you want people to have a little bit of respect for themselves and the other people around them, something like that. But again, we need to agree between the initial members in the community once we've got enough people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And you say that we should agree on what constitutes human identity. What do you mean with that?
I've got the list here as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're not going to get onto that one on this one because it is very controversial. But
Okay.
it is something that, I don't want to distract from what we're trying to do. I think it's a very important thing. It's very obviously identity politics now is something that's front and center of a lot of people's attention,
Mhm.
causing lots of problems. But I think it's a real thing to discuss, and I it's not people's how people think that identity is formed, but it's the fact that they should be open to discussing it without getting offended,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I think if they're open to discussing it without getting offended, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
You know, if you read a bit of history, there's a lot of stuff that is apparently extremely controversial, and there's no logical sense why it is. That this conversation is an interesting one to have.
Well, it basically comes down to we should be able to talk about things and not get offended, you know, and entertain certain opinions from all types of people.
Also, you were saying about young people. I think that's something really hard for really young people to get their heads around, because it's something that I'm aware of because of age and experience. You know, experience with people and how they behave,
Mm-hmm.
And also having lived significant amount of time in two different cultures and two different countries.
Yeah.
You know, it teaches you a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, this one is, I think, pretty simple, but still, honesty.
Yeah, don't lie.
Don't lie.
Yeah. Don't lie. Say what you do what you say you're going to do. Keep your word. All this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting one. Again, that's an interesting thing to discuss, because I think honesty matters until someone is trying to game you,
Mm-hmm.
and then all bets are off. I don't think you need to be honest with people who are deliberately being deceitful.
Yeah.
You know, especially if they're a risk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like then it's like all fair's in love and war. If someone's trying to screw you and you know they are, and you need to do something to protect yourself from that,
Yeah.
then you can say what you like. You know.
Mm-hmm. So does that mean just be honest within the community, or does it mean be honest with people around you?
I think you should be okay.
Unless
so let me give an example.
You.
Let me give an example. We build a community, right? And we have people contact us that we think are scammers or going to try and scam our community or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like I might say, well, I'm sorry, there's no room left in the community, when there's plenty of room left,
Mm-hmm.
just because I don't want to get in a confrontation with a guy, because I just want them to actually go away and annoy someone else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the quickest way for me to get the outcome that's best for me in the community will be to lie to them, right? Now, in those kind of circumstances, I think that's okay.
So, well, that's a little bit ambiguous then. So if it's okay for you, for your circumstances, then it's fine to lie.
No, listen to what I said. Listen to what I said.
I'm playing advocate for the devil here.
Listen to what I said. I said if someone is going to cause us trouble, I think is going to cause us trouble somehow,
Mm-hmm.
and I just, you know, it's very obvious that they're a scammer or a liar or a cheat or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into a fight with them or argue with them.
Yeah.
I like, if I tell them that we don't have any space left on our community, when we do, that would be an example of how to simply deal with something that could become a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
But again, happy to debate that. I mean, all this stuff needs to go in the constitution of the community. I don't want to do it myself. People keep on telling me I'm trying to set up a cult or something. I'm not at all. I'm trying to get a bunch of people who are like-minded together.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty useless cult if you go and ask people how to run it.
Would be a cult of engineering and just growing some food, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's enough. Be positive. What do you mean by be positive? It's a stupid question, but what do you think?
Do you understand what being positive means?
Yeah. It's in the list. I want to cover it, you know.
This is a dumb question, but anyway, whatever. Yeah, be positive.
Yeah.
I think I only put that on the list because I live in Romania, and Romanians watching will understand what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, just like, you know, if people want to talk doom and gloom and find the negatives in everything, and it's never going to work, and if you think like that, nothing is ever going to work in your life, right? Because you can take the same situation, the same objective, same goals, same whatever you try to achieve, right? And if you think about it negatively, your brain will just find all the ways it's not going to work, right? If you think positively, you'll start finding solutions, right? So what one negative person like that can be around a good team and completely poison their minds. You don't want people like that anywhere near you.
True.
Ever.
Very true.
Not in our community, not in your life. You know, and many of them are sadly not people who can be salvaged. You know, because they can excuse me. Many of them are people who cannot be salvaged because they've been stuck like that all their lives, you know, so just keep them out of the way. Be positive or go somewhere else.
Yeah, I get it. Well, it's a community that is pretty much in the countryside of Romania, so you need to enjoy nature or be able to. That's one of the important values, isn't it?
So I put people who enjoy nature. I mean, we're building community in the countryside. The whole point is to be in the countryside, to grow your own food, to try and become as energy and food independent as possible. And like, I enjoy living in the countryside greatly. So if you don't enjoy living in the countryside, you probably don't want to be trying an off-grid community in the countryside. You know,
pretty straightforward.
I'm sorry?
It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, what I'd like to do is bring a kind of city investment hub feel to the you know, networking, co-working space. Bring a city co-working space feel to a place in the countryside. You know, that would be cool. That's what I've always wanted. I remember when I lived in England, I always used to that you occasionally come across these companies that were based out in the countryside with these nice offices in the countryside, and I always fancied working for a company like that before I realised that working for other people was a mug's game.
Yeah, I think I realised that a little bit earlier, but it's good to realise it anyway.
How you're 21?
I'm 21.
Yeah, no, I was sniffing around my own business at that point. So
yeah, good.
Okay.
Be a self-defense and property maximalist. Can you explain that?
Yes. So basically, the right to. Sorry, there was a big lightning strike just then.
Oh, really?
And like it's interesting because it's cloudy here. We've had a really hot few days. It's grey overhead, the sun behind me, and there was just a big lightning bolt that I saw over there.
Yeah, I was thinking you saw Superman or something, but
we're desperate for no. It was a proper lightning bolt. Okay. It was only about 3 kilometers away. Anyway, I'm in a metal box, so it's fine. So yeah, self-defense and defense of your property and right to bear arms, right to self-defense. So this is something that it's difficult to own guns in Romania, but there are laws here about what you can do. Like, it depends how your property is configured, whether it's daytime or nighttime, from what I understand. But if someone comes into your house in the middle of the night, like some random stranger trying to rob you, and you hurt them defending your property and your house, you'll likely be okay. Whereas if you do that in the West, you can likely be the one ending up in jail for defending your own property. For me, that's absolutely insane. I mean, civilizations are built on property rights and individual rights, right? You can't have a situation where your government is telling you can't defend your own property and your own family and stuff like that. And worse still, in the West now, if you do that, you're going to be likely the one ending up in jail, not the criminal. So my point was, it's not really that relevant here where we are because Romania is so safe, you know. But it might be in the future, and it's something we should consider, because if people don't really have that mindset, they're probably not really like-minded enough, you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think I care about respecting other people's property and looking after their property. We want everybody here to be trustworthy and respectful of other people's property,
Pretty much.
which means keeping an eye on it and looking out for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same with the people, the property, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just something. It's one for later discussion, but I wanted to flag it really.
Yeah, point taken. And also, in accordance with that, or in relation to zero tolerance to non-defensive violence, is what you mentioned. So I assume.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't tolerate violence. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Very simple. And the only reason you should ever have an excuse to use violence is if a violent person threatens or attacks you or threatens your property.
Yeah.
And I think when it's physical property, like, I don't think you get to use excessive force, depending on the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if someone climbs over your fence, is bothering you and, trying to damage your car or something, that doesn't give you the excuse to cave his skull in with a baseball bat. You call the police, get a few of the air, maybe stop the guy, but it just needs to be reasonable and rational.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously that's why. And any Romanians watching this who tell me this is incorrect with the law here, feel free. But from what I understand, the courts here will look at it like, if someone breaks into your house in the middle of the night and you confront them, you've got a bit more leeway than if they wander into your garden. Technically they're still in your property, on your property or in your property.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is, in the middle of the night, it's much more alarming.
Yeah.
And you have much more reason to be spooked and a bit jumpy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to a slightly more positive value, and that is to be able.
I just want to reiterate one of the things that's great about Romania is, for now, it's extremely safe.
Yeah. No, I've noticed when I was there.
You do have some violence, but it tends to be within families, within groups, or maybe within criminal groups and stuff. Is like my kids have wandered around this village for forever,
mm-hmm.
and never had any problems.
No. I can confirm. Like, the cities and towns, they feel very safe. Maybe even safer than some European cities. Actually, quite sufficient to say they do. But it depends, of course, on where you are.
Well, you don't get randomly stabbed, do you? Which helps a lot.
I'm not from London, but
I always find that's a good measure of a city, whether you get stabbed or not.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't happen in the Netherlands that often, luckily. But sure, yeah. Still, I think it's very comparable to safety in the Netherlands at the moment if you're in the countryside in the Netherlands. But bottom line is, it's very safe here. I can attest to that. Well, this more positive point is we'd appreciate people that enjoy tech and engineering, because that's kind of your thing. It's kind of your hobby. And what you want to do.
What's the question? Sorry.
One of the values people should have is to enjoy tech and engineering.
Oh, sure, yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so this is really important because there's lots of people making these communities now of one sort or another, and there's lots of people wanting to live off grid and grow their own food and be independent, all this kind of stuff, right? Now, my honest opinion is that you're not going to get young people into this stuff when you're competing with all the distractions of cities and city life, right? Maybe a few, but not many.
Well, maybe some of them.
Maybe some of them. Mm-hmm. But if you're doing technology and automation, and you make it much more interesting, in a more advanced world, you'd be having your robots going off and doing the farming, and you're maintaining the robots.
Mm-hmm.
This is a kind of thing ultimately you'd want to aim for, but before that, there's all sorts of systems you can automate with sensors and pumps and switches and things to deal with insects or weeds or scare birds off or whatever.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of ideas there's people already doing stuff online. There's fantastic resources out there.
Mm-hmm.
We need a programmer, mechanical engineers, anybody who's got these skills and likes the sound of what we're doing, who can physically get themselves here at least some of the time, you know.
Yeah.
And with the programming skills, like people who can program like Arduino, Raspberry Pi, ESP32, rover controllers like Pixhawk and this kind of thing. People who can do that kind of stuff. I need to find people who actually want to be honest and play fair, you know, because like I can figure out how to do something with ChatGPT now that works, that I can get done almost for free. And if I stick that up on a freelancing site, I'll get quotes for 500 euros or 1,000 euros. And like, I don't want any of these joker programmers who think they're lawyers and don't actually want to solve problems. I want people who, like, I'm throwing my land in endless amounts of my time. I'm already in the hole quite a lot personally for this whole thing because I believe in it. I really want to do it. Like, you know, I've got a lot of what we need to do to build this thing. If you come along and say, oh yeah, I'll do that for you, mate, but I want 500 euros an hour, just please go somewhere else. You know, not what we're looking for.
Yeah. Right? And if you're not one of those engineering type people, like me, I'm a business guy, and you think, oh, well, I do want to live on the countryside, but why these robots? Why this engineering? Well, let me just give you one simple example, you know, and this is what you told me as well, Ed. In Romania, it gets pretty hot in the summer, right? And in the summer, you sometimes need to harvest things, or you just need to work in the gardens or in the farm, because it's a farm, you need to work there. Just imagine, it's 40 degrees outside, and one of your little robots does all the harvesting for whatever, your berries, your cherries, your apples, or whatever, and you're sitting inside, checking out these little robots do the work, and while you think, oh... wow! Yeah, I don't have to be outside in 40 degrees hot sun.
That's my point. You see,
yeah,
that resonated with you.
Yeah, exactly. Thinking, I have to agree.
Everybody likes looking at all this beautiful fresh food and eating it, right? But going out and doing all the dull, dirty stuff.
It's fun. Like, I don't mind personally. I think it's fun to an extent to work in a farm or work in the gardens, because I've been doing that already. But you know, I'm from a temperate climate, so it's very different than working in 40 degrees. So there's also parts which are really, really annoying, like this. You know, so I think it's a balance, because at first it's going to be hard to 100% automate everything, right? There still needs to be input from people.
Well, you can. You know, the thing is there's lots of people growing stuff, and you can swap food with other people, right?
Yeah.
And you like animals are really good, and they're not so difficult to automate. Some animals, right? Yeah. You know, animals do a lot of stuff. Like animals, really, like chickens, for example. They eat all sorts of bugs and all sorts of scraps and stuff like that, and just turn themselves into eggs and very nutritional meat, right?
Yeah.
So I've got a whole bunch of ideas to automate chickens. Some of them I think are quite entertaining as well, so they'll make good YouTube content. But I don't find anybody else doing this stuff. People are growing chickens. They're doing, you know, these kind of more hippie-like communities where I'm not interested in that, you know. Like, I just want to be...
You don't want to work your ass up in 40 degrees hot sunshine.
Yes. And also, I just want to have some smart neighbours I can come and talk to for a while when I'm not... I'm bored with my own company, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm glad that resonated with you. Because
I just wanted to put it out there, you know, because you know, if you're not very big into farming, you might think, well, this is kind of the point to actually farm and be able to work outside, you know, and you can still do that. Yes. But don't forget it can be really strenuous, hard work. And engineering something of an automated solution will really help. It will at least make the scale bigger of the things that you can do, right? So that's why I also got interested in that part.
And you should play around with some stuff yourself, because although like when I started playing around with like a few years ago, I started playing around with drones, right? And I literally hadn't picked up a soldering iron or radio control kit or anything like that since I was in my early 20s, right? I work with computers, but buying and selling them, right? And I can do a half reasonable job at fixing a computer, but not like I used to be able to.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I started playing with this stuff, it was quite intimidating.
Yeah.
And one thing there is ChatGPT would have dramatically changed that experience for me, because I started that 3 years ago before ChatGPT, or 4 years ago, and I surprised myself with what I could do just by finding other people online. But I since went back to ChatGPT and went through the first steps of my drone stuff that took me some months to get figured out online, meeting people, and actually managed to get the same answers very, very quickly, because ChatGPT is actually great for that kind of stuff. Plus, you can ask it really embarrassing, stupid questions that, if you ask a genuine engineer, they're just going to laugh their pants off, because because that's what they're like. They go, how could you possibly not know that? Well, like any other single bit of knowledge that anybody knows, I don't know it because I never learned it. It doesn't make you a better person, pal.
Paul, yeah. That's easy about ChatGPT, and we're in this era where even I could do something like that, and like you said, get into it and probably be useful.
Yeah, I mean, play around with some stuff. It's fun. It's fun, Just get an Arduino and get it moving a servo or something.
Yeah.
You're smart enough. You'll be able to learn it. If you can learn video editing, you can learn stuff like that. A lot of it's sometimes psychological. You think it's harder than it is.
Yeah, just need to get to it.
And you need to be patient with it as well, because it takes time. Programming is mainly about memory and logic. If you've got a good memory, this is why I can't really program very well anymore, because I just forget stuff too quickly. I forget what I'm talking about in the middle of talking about it.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard like that.
Like Joe Biden, but not quite as bad.
not there yet. Don't worry, it'll take at least 10 years. So hopefully we got this thing rolling.
Thank you. Yeah, cheers. Cool.
Right. All right. Next point. Being a free speech maximalist. That's very important to you.
Yeah, I mean, what I mean by that is like there isn't such a thing as hate speech. You can say what you like. That doesn't mean you can go and stand next to someone and shout in their ear, over and over again, because that's harassment or intimidation or whatever. But you can say what you like to who you like about whatever you like. I draw the line at directly inciting violence, threatening violence to people, doxing people, this kind of stuff. But I don't think there are certain groups in this world who, for some reason, they seem to be protected by all these laws that you're not allowed to, and individuals, companies, whatever, you're not allowed to discuss certain subjects.
Yeah,
that's wrong. I mean, that's completely against the principle of free speech, and I don't accept that. So, again, anybody who can't handle the concept of free speech, find another community.
Yep, fully agreed. Should be part of it. Sounds money maximalist. I think you're going to talk about crypto and Bitcoin, or crypto and gold.
Yeah. So, without going into too much depth, because this is a whole podcast in its own right, as I'm sure you know. The basic idea is governments shouldn't be anywhere near having the ability to borrow money under interest or print money. That absolutely should be a decentralized thing, controlled directly by the people. Bitcoin is a good example, using gold and silver or other things pegged to commodities. Great example. Even bartering things. There are actually ways you can use work hours to trade. In things that are easily measurable, like cutting hay, right?
Yeah.
You can say you can trade a number of hay cutting hours for something, because you can put an easy value to it. But anyway, the point is that you need to be on the same page with us on that, because I'm done with fiat money. I think it's the biggest evil that has totally destroyed the Western world in many ways. It undermines everything. It corrupts everything. If you look at how institutions get corrupted, and you dig down, you will always find interest loans and fiat money. You know.
Yeah. So basically, what it means for the community.
Again, this stuff is controversial, but I encourage anybody who thinks that they can argue this properly, write in the comments.
Yeah.
Because lots of people like having very strong opinions about this until you ask them, you try and have a conversation with them. It turns out they don't know anything about the subject. You know?
Yeah. Let's see and find out.
There you go.
But just to summarize, because what I think you mean with this specifically for the community is that you would like to find ways to use these, well, you could say real money or different types of money, such as Bitcoin solutions and gold solutions and bartering solutions.
I can answer that. I think I know what you're going to ask. So I'm very, very interested in that subject. So anything to help the Bitcoin community or help people understand how to trade in gold or silver, this kind of thing. One of the guys I interviewed on my other channel is deals with coins and had some really interesting insights into gold, you know, and what and how to test the coins, because they're very the forgers are very good. You have to be really careful. But there are some kind of gold coins that you can get almost close to the market rate, like the middle price, you know. Yeah. Not the buy on sell, the middle price. Particular coins. So it's useful to have that information. Things that you can actually buy and sell very easily. Yep. With the Bitcoin thing, the Bitcoin has a problem a bit like the delivery industry does, in that it's always about getting the delivery the last few kilometers. That's why they have these drop boxes now where I don't know if you have them in other countries, but in Romania, the couriers use this cabinet thing. They put them at places like supermarkets where people are going. I know what you mean. And you can ship the goods to that box. This is actually a service we'd like to offer to people who want to get set up here, because I think if someone's they want to move over here, but they can't immediately, they want to do it over a few years, and they want to set up a business, an office, a place they can get stuff shipped to, secured, not that. I think that's a good service to offer. Anyway, back to the Bitcoin. So the thing with the last few kilometers of the delivery, Bitcoin has a bit of a similar issue in that the user interface is far too complex for your average person, right? Like people who don't want to take the trouble to understand it, right? All the Bitcoin nerdy people and the Bitcoin maxis and all that go, oh, well, you just have to figure it out. Well, oh yeah, that's a great way to get people on board, isn't it? Maybe people aren't interested in it and just want to go and buy a chicken or something. You know, they get the fact that fiat money is evil, but they can't use gold or silver. They'd like to use Bitcoin on their smartphone because they can kind of get their head around internet banking. Yeah, but they don't really get it. That solving that problem is a $1 billion business if you can crack that. Yeah, and it's something that I'm very interested in. Yeah, we can start with pilot projects and try to do it in community. And you know you've done it when you can go to someone in the countryside here who doesn't know what doesn't know what a notary is, and get them to use it. Yeah, that's when you've cracked it. Yeah, I love the idea of playing around with that. It'd be fun to make great videos as well. Yeah, same. That'd be cool. Yeah. Okay, and well, the next point is less of a value but more of a personal requirement, I would say. So that is that people that are interested in joining this community should either be ideally reasonably funded, so that maybe in monetary terms, or have a good story and real skills, is what you wrote down. Can you elaborate on that? Yeah. It's good. You see, this is a little knack that I have. I make lists of everything because, like, my recall's okay. It's just like my indexing is screwed, right? Yeah. So when I like what you read there, just reminded me exactly what I wanted to say perfectly. But sadly, I've forgotten what you said just now. So can you read it again, please? Because I want to get that right, because it was actually a really important point. Sure. Okay. Yeah. This is why we need young people involved to compensate for my brain. It's not that funny.
Yeah, I'm still sure it's not that funny. I'll repeat it. Don't worry about it. No, I said more of a personal requirement. People should be ideally reasonably funded, either in monetary terms or by having a good story and real skills.
Yeah, okay. So basically, if you're a youngster, you've got an excuse for not having any money and not knowing anything, right?
True.
But if you come here as a 50-year-old and you've got no skills and no money, then you want to get involved and us to teach you something useful. I'm not against trying, but you got to have a good story as how you got to 50 with no skills and no money. You know, so because there are people, right? I have heard stories, and I've been through ups and downs in my own life, where people have just generally had what you could call bad luck. You know, just some chance accident or something happened to them. They were in a very nice situation. I many years ago, I knew this lovely guy in England who was a welder, very skilled guy, little bit boring as a guy, you know, probably not a guy you could have a beer port with for too long, but technically extremely competent, right? And, you know, I had great respect for his skills. He had a business with his wife and another guy who was the kind of sales and marketing and business guy that he was his partner. They had a third share in each of the business, and the wife had an affair with the business partner, and they also had the majority in the business, so they kicked him out of it. Now, like, the guy was absolutely devastated because he was such a sincere, decent, honest, nice guy that he didn't know what to do. You know, I don't know what happened to that guy, but I can imagine it could have easily been not something good. And so if you got a story like that, I'm probably going to have some sympathy and try and help you, you know. But if you just, you know, you just got through your entire life and done nothing, you probably want to find a different community. That can be a tagline for our short videos. We can say like da 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 da. If not, find another community.
Yeah, well, that's cool that you mentioned this, because what I told you in private earlier is that these values are all really important. But it might come over, especially to young people, perhaps as I'm going to put words in your mouth here, as really hardcore, right? Because people from my generation, especially if you live in the West, adhering to these values and these responsibilities is kind of a rare thing at this point. There's not many people around my age that I know of, at least, who are familiar with that, you know? Sorry?
No one's been taught about responsibilities.
Yeah, exactly. And,
you know, they've just not been taught. I wasn't. I mean, this started when in my teenage years, I wasn't taught about these things properly.
Yeah.
You know, like most of the stuff I was taught, I went to a decent private school, right? A boarding school, decent quality British boarding school for 6 years, 2 different schools. And I wasn't, I mean, I don't know, 70% of what I was taught was legitimately useless information in real life. You know, I would have much rather been taught how to do things. You know, the things I loved at school, the computer room and the metalwork workshop.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to do. And I got like maybe 1 or 2 hours a week of both those things, right?
Yeah.
I should have had 90% of my time doing those things and occasionally do some maths. Had I been taught maths, someone had said to me, look, pal, you want to learn about computers, you need to learn math. Duh, right?
Yeah.
That would have got a load more attention than you must learn this boring maths in this way, you know? You know, like go on the computer, try and solve this maths problem with a computer. I'd have been interested.
Yeah.
But you know, teachers live in their own little kind of the academic world where strange teacher shit happens, not real things.
Yeah. Well, having said that, as an example, could you give us a really concise explanation in this kind of sense of why we need to learn math, but now apply it to why we need to have these kind of values as people? Can you explain that to perhaps a young audience? How would you do that?
I'm not sure I quite understood the question.
I'll
let me
rephrase it.
let me repeat it back.
Okay,
What I think you're asking,
sure.
and see if it's right. So you're basically asking me if I'd wanted to pitch the why you need to learn maths thing to students, how I would do it.
Why do you need to be responsible? Why do you need to care about truth? Why do you need to be honest? Why do you need to keep your word?
Sorry, right.
You
you're talking about all the values.
Yes. So
Yes,
to young people, why is that important?
Because you're going to inherit the entire world.
Yes.
Right? So all these institutions and everything that operates around you in 50 years, that's all going to be you.
Yeah.
Right? That's the reality. Okay? No one ever told me that. No, like I don't know what, like it's kind of not hard to work it out. I mean, it's kind of logical, right? But nobody
if you
ever
don't
told
think
me
about
that.
it, if no one tells you about
nobody
it,
ever told me that. Also, I thought the politicians were this class of special people that you could only get into that if you went through a certain part in life, and it wasn't for me, right? The reality is, politicians are some of the worst human specimens on the planet, right? It attracts the worst kind of people. The best people to be doing politics are all the people running businesses who know what they're doing in the real world, right?
Yeah.
Now, curiously, with the government controlling what you're taught in school through the Department of Education, right? They're not going to say that, are they?
Nope.
No. So they're not going to say that. So really, young people need to start waking up and getting this stuff. It's really important. There was a guy in Cyprus just in the last few days. I don't know what his name was, but he's a YouTuber and he managed to get elected to the European Parliament, right?
Yeah.
And basically, I saw a video. Again, anybody watching, tell me I'm wrong, but maybe I didn't understand something. But if I got it right, he got elected to the European Parliament. Von der Leyen is coming up for the re-election to the president of the European Union or whatever, right? Which is interesting because I've never been asked to vote for her, so I don't know how she got elected. I never voted for her ever, so I don't know quite how that works. Maybe someone can enlighten me on that. Anyway, this guy from Cyprus, he said, "Okay, what we're going to do? I'm going to do a poll on social media, and whatever you tell me to vote, I'll vote." Right? So on this particular issue, the von der Leyen, okay. So actually, if all your European Union MEPs do that, that would be perfect. Just tell me what to vote. I'll put it up on social media. But the problem is then, a lot of people don't use social media, you see. So then you're asking all the young people or people who are social media aware. So it's not quite that good because some of the wisest people don't go anywhere near computers.
No. No.
There are some really old school guys out there that have a lot of knowledge and a lot of useful information, and they don't know how to use WhatsApp.
No, that's a shame.
So it's about like, I don't know, if you don't do anything, you don't get interested in the world and how it works and everything, things will get worse. My generation and the generation before completely dropped the ball in many ways. It's hard to decide who to blame for it, or even if it's worth blaming people. It could all just be organic, but you don't want these trends to continue.
No.
Maybe they're turning around, but who knows?
Yeah. So at least focus on what you can make better, Focus on tackling the problem.
Also, for young people in their 20s, your life is very scary. It can be very scary and very intimidating. And older people can be very intimidating. Older people my age and older or younger don't intimidate me because I'm old enough to tell them say what I like, right? But when you're a 20-year-old, it's much harder to tell a 50-year-old something. Although there are some spectacularly stupid older people, I was told to always respect my elders, right? That's a ridiculous statement. I mean, that's just really stupid because there are plenty of really stubborn, stupid, old idiots that shouldn't be allowed anywhere near voting for anything.
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of the assumption that if they're old, at least they've learned something. But
that's not true. No, some people.
But that's the assumption.
Some people just like their brain just ossifies over time. They start off knowing very little, and by the time they're 50, they know even less.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they have trouble recalling things.
Funny.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. So yeah, but okay, I just wanted to kind of put it out there because I think it can be quite intimidating if someone of your age talks about all these responsibilities that you just like immediately need to pick up, you know. And I think it's not that intimidating if you kind of know what you're really talking about and doing it for the right things that you want to do. But like you need to work into it, right? Like get used to it.
I don't think you need to immediately pick them all up.
Yeah.
I think that's what you and me, like we've talked about, once we've got this thing further down the road, running some apprenticeships and this kind of thing, and making an educational side of it. That's where, like, I'm more than happy to work with some young people to figure out how to get this message across, to get the communication right. You know, I mean, that's what this video is about communicating this idea better to the audience, because we want to attract young people, and apparently I scare them.
Oh, I'm not saying you do, but it might be. I'm just one guy, you know. It's my perspective.
I get it. I was also 20 once.
Okay, it's been a long time though, man.
You're learning.
I'm learning, yeah. All right, let's get on. Skills of use to the mission. Yeah, we kind of talked about, you know, have some skills or some money to put into the projects. But the specific skills we could probably use right now are engineers, programmers, electricians, people that know about farming, building, because these are kind of the core things we would need to get the community really rolling, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can find people who have all these skills in one person. Those people exist, but I'm looking more for like-minded people with any of those skills, any one of them.
Yeah. But
particularly right now, what would be good is someone with electronics and electronic sensors, controllers, you know, things to build. Like I want to build get that little rover vehicle going. As soon as that's working, we can start making content with it. And that probably can be done with one person. Just need to find that person.
Yeah.
Or we just sell some more land. Once I've sold some more land, got a bit more cash, and I'll just pay someone to do it if necessary. I want to be able to start making these engineering projects.
Yeah. But for everyone that is interested in joining the community, they need to at least be willing to share some of the security responsibilities.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, if someone comes with an extreme amount of very specialist, useful skill, as a group, we'll probably let them opt out of security responsibilities, right? But the one thing that everybody has to be involved in is the security of the whole community, right?
Yeah.
Because we want people to be able to come and go and literally be able to leave their car doors open, stuff lying in their garden, whatever, and not have a care in the world.
Yeah.
Which means there needs to be proactive security. You can't just, you know, everybody goes on holiday at the same time, you know.
Yeah. And I think that's a very good part of the community.
I think, to be honest, if you're asking people that and they think that's unreasonable, you know what I'm going to say?
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Go to another community.
Yeah. I didn't see that one coming. Yeah. No, but it's clear. Yeah, and I think as well, it's probably pretty obvious from the points we've covered so far, but you are a state minimalist, and you probably think people around you should be a little bit of the same. Do I say that correctly?
Yes, I mean, I want minimalist. Excuse me. I want minimalist regulation and a minimalist state. You know, if you think about it, a state that was 100% perfectly efficient, got everything, all the systems working so well that everything just ran smoothly, would shrivel up into very little. But the state has no incentive to make the state smaller. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So your best choice is just to find all the best people, get them all together, and then leave to somewhere where you get treated properly and you get respected. You know, so this is the next best thing. You know, the taxation is low in Romania if you know what you're doing, and if you come here, set up this community, we do an offshore business somewhere, we work globally, just bring our money here and spend it here. Everyone's happy.
Yeah.
Like we're bringing money to the economy. We don't have to deal with too much local bureaucracy or local people trying to play games. We live here peacefully and have our robots going around in the 40 degrees doing all the farming. Who could dream of a better life?
Oh yeah, I can think of anything better. Please comment if you know anything better. I'm happy to listen.
Yeah.
And state minimalist, regulation minimalist, it's kind of the same thing. And I think the one, let's go to that one. One of the values that I added to this list is to be a good listener. Because that's really important, I think, to having a community where if you want to be aligned, but at the same time, you also want to hear other opinions and be open to them.
Something I'm going to say about this, because it's a very interesting point here. Since I've been doing this channel, when I came here, I had no clue what I was going to do. It's a pretty radical move, just getting all your stuff and leaving to another country and saying, fuck it, I'll just chance it.
Just jump into it.
And having made this channel and listened to people who have had these careers for, 10 years into a career or 20 years into a career, have this plan where they, they did their education, they got their qualifications, they do this career, they're going to work, save money, retire, live happily ever after. I've never bought into that whole concept, never like that. I just want to, enjoy my life while I'm young.
Yeah, from the get-go.
From the get-go. And do things to make money that I enjoy doing, so it doesn't feel like work. And much of my life, I've really achieved that. But it's been interesting reading the emails I get from people, because people are scared. I mean, and it's touching. It's like these guys that are, they don't know what to do because they're so disorientated by what's going on. It never occurred to them. These are people, they go into their job, they work very hard, they come home to the wife, they have dinner, they take the kids to school, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Their life, but they're happy like that. Good for them. That's how they want to live their life.
For sure.
But these people are really disorientated because, they must be, because they're speaking to people like me saying, oh, how's it working? We'll move out there. They're that desperate, right? That they're thinking to move to another country, and they're so scared, it's like and so those kind of people you definitely need to listen to and take your time with, because they need help and coaxing into it. And I think it's probably similar for young people. I mean, different reasons, same thing. It's just all very scary and intimidating.
Yeah. So do reach out pretty much for anything you want. Because I guess we're both open to listening. And most of the things here. You've been in Romania for 22 years. I'm just a newbie from the Netherlands. But also, I'm very eager to meet other people my age that are kind of similar in this way of thinking. Because I would really like to know. And talk more about it and see what we have in common, and maybe have some interesting perspectives that I haven't seen yet, So that's really important for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, particularly people in the Netherlands who you can go and physically meet and chat to, because like whatever age they are, because if they're people who want to get out here sooner and have got some money to invest, and this would be good. We could do with getting a bit of money into the land and building project, because it just means we can accelerate everything. We don't need much either,
Yeah. And specifically, actually kind of a side topic, but about the Netherlands, if you are really considering moving to Romania, whether you want to move to this community or not, you should probably do it quickly, because I literally read yesterday, it's a little bit older, this news, that the Netherlands is thinking of implementing some kind of new immigration tax, where after the 1st of January of 2025, you will need to pay for 5 years of the next upcoming years,
Yeah, this is properly hilarious, right?
Yeah.
So you know what this is? This is the equivalent of a fiscal Berlin Wall.
Yeah,
right.
It is.
You've excuse my French, but I care profoundly about these things. You fuck the country up so much that everybody wants to leave, And so you can't build a wall around it because it's going to look like the Berlin Wall. So you're just going to steal everybody's money while they're trying to leave.
Pretty much.
Nice, classy.
Yeah. So
cool.
so it's that, like, for now it's just an idea still, but just the fact that they came up with this idea just tells me enough. It's a trend. That's what I'm saying all the time. It's a trend. It's not going the other way. It's going this way. And with this way, you know what I mean. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that there's a new tax coming up for kind of your belongings. This is really Dutch. In 2027, which is going to be pretty much 36% on all your profits. You know. So if you're from the Netherlands, reach out. But there is some haste. It's also for me the reason that I'm looking into it very seriously right now to move to Romania or anywhere else. But I think Romania is the perfect option. Just wanted to get it out there. But yeah, apart from that, I think we covered everything. So, anything you want to add?
No, if you don't like us, go to another community.
Yeah, that point very clear. and what if you do like us?
Yeah, come here. You're welcome.
Yeah,
come over. Come round for a cup of tea and a cucumber sandwich.
Exactly. I was there as well. Lovely place.
Yeah,
lovely place.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to do the outro?
Yes. Okay. So outro. Right. If you've got any questions, just ask them in the comments below. And if you want to get in contact directly, which we'd encourage you to do, if you think you can contribute in any way, or, you know, I've always got time to talk to people. I've got good systems setting up for dealing with all the inquiries quickly. So if you contact me, you'll get a fast response. Not something you'll get used to dealing with anybody in Romania, but you'll get a fast response from me. So write your questions in the comments and I'll reply with my contact details, and we can take it from there.
Cheers.
And that's it. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. If you did, congratulations. You're very patient, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yeah, we need you. We need that patience.
Bye for now. Bye from me.
Bye for now.
Bye. Cheers.